Good morning, this is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Tuesday, June 30th, 2026. The fire potential headlines for the next week include some breezy winds continuing over southeast Utah through the next few days. Showers across the north over the next few days as well, with gradually warming temperatures region-wide. It's going to be pretty hot actually this weekend. As far as fuels go, another reminder of the Great Basin Fuels and Fire Behavior Advisory that's in effect for eastern Nevada, much of Utah, and the Arizona Strip. Taking a closer look at that advisory here, we can see the areas highlighted in red are where the advisory is currently in effect, highlighting persistent drought, record low live fuel moistures, extreme fire behavior, rapid fire growth, and those types of conditions. Fire potential impacts for the next couple of days show some light showers across the north continuing today. We may see some isolated storms in northern Utah. Some of those storms will continue tomorrow, mainly across the north, and then lingering into Thursday, but really starting to dry out by Thursday. As far as the winds go, expecting those gusty conditions over southeast Utah once again today. The winds will be the strongest today. But we will see winds continuing across the southern and southeast parts of the Great Basin on Wednesday into Thursday, just a little bit lighter, and warming temperatures through the period. Yesterday we saw some precipitation continuing across the north, really not much lightning observed. We did see a few storms right outside the Reno area, but just on the other side of the Great Basin. Fire activity was pretty minimal for new fires yesterday, only one fire for 1/10 of an acre, so that's a welcome respite. However, large fire growth was quite high with over 22,000 acres burning, most of that coming on the Babylon fire. As a reminder, we are at PL4, both for the Great Basin and nationally. The smoke forecast for this afternoon and tomorrow afternoon still shows smoke coming mainly off the Cottonwood and the Babylon fires in Utah. Current fire danger continues to show some decreased values across the north with multiple days of some showery, cooler weather up there. However, further south, those values are still above the 90th percentile across the southern Great Basin. We did see a pretty significant dip over the past few days with the cooler conditions, even over southeast Utah, bringing ERCs back to around normal for the time of year. However, the trend is for a rapid rise back up to quite a bit above normal, with warm and dry conditions returning to most of the area. This morning's satellite imagery shows the low pressure in place across the Great Basin, keeping temperatures quite a bit below normal for the time of year across the whole area. Looking at the upper air pattern and the significant fire potential product for the next couple of days, we can see low pressure in place across the Great Basin for today, leading to some cloud cover and cooler temperatures. Tomorrow, that low moves a little bit further northward. We'll start to see some gradual warming, but still some showers possible across the north and some cloud cover. And then by Thursday, some drying region-wide. We do have high risk issued for wind across far southeast Utah today. Tomorrow we have some burn environment triggers issued. These are for very dry conditions and some breezy winds, just below criteria for the windy trigger. And then those burn environment conditions continue into Thursday. Showing the winds here on top we can see those strong gusty winds in place once again over eastern Utah today. The winds lighten up a bit tomorrow into Thursday, but still some breezy conditions across the southern half of the Great Basin where we have that burn environment trigger issued. Minimum relative humidities are going to be quite low for the next couple of days, or decreasing anyway, with values in the upper single digits to low teens across much of Utah and Nevada. Higher values over Idaho and western Wyoming today and tomorrow, and starting to decrease by Thursday. Precipitation-wise, we're looking for some showers to develop once again over the central Idaho mountains, maybe some isolated storms in western Wyoming and far northern Utah. Those storms will continue into tomorrow. And then clearing on Thursday with just some remaining storms over eastern Idaho and into western Wyoming. For the weekend, we'll start to see high pressure ridge building into the Great Basin, especially starting Saturday into Sunday when temperatures are going to be increasing rapidly across the geographic area. And we can see many of our zones returning to the yellows and browns across the area. Winds will be light as we head into the weekend for the most part, with the high pressure building overhead. Minimum relative humidity is staying quite low and really moving down into the single digits across Utah and Nevada for the weekend, Saturday into Sunday. Slightly higher values across the north, but decreasing there as well. Precipitation, really not looking for much as we head into the weekend, maybe just some lingering storms over the central Idaho mountains on Friday, otherwise drying for Saturday and Sunday. A quick look at the temperatures here. We're looking at the maximums for today, which are going to be mostly in the 80s, maybe even some in the 70s, which is quite a bit below normal for the time of year, maybe 10 to 15 degrees. But by Sunday, we're back up into the 90s for most valley locations. In fact, the mid to upper 90s in parts of western Nevada and western Idaho. In summary, looking at the 7-day significant fire potential product for the next 7 days shows high risk in place over southeast Utah for the winds today. Burn environment for the next couple of days down there, highlighting the dry conditions and some breezy winds. And then no high risk after that as the high pressure builds in and we return to a pretty warm and dry pattern. The extended forecast for July 5th through the 9th calls for above normal temperatures across the Great Basin and below normal chances for precipitation. Still looking for the monsoon, and it's not quite here yet. That concludes today's briefing. Please check back tomorrow for the latest updates.